podcast party to slay a dragon.
You wake up. It's sudden, and you lurch to a stop. Where are you? How long has it been since you could think clearly? It's dark, lit only by flickering firelight, and you see 3 other figures standing with you in a circle. The firelight is flickering in the palm of Mercury, the blue-skinned tiefling and trickster priest.
Oh my god.
He quickly bends down in front of you, Violet, peering into your face. Ah, there we are. Good as new. Well, more or less. He sort of looks doubtful a little bit. You'll never notice the difference. Here, Violet, take this and keep it on your person for the rest of your life. There's a good sport. And he presses a small eggplant into your hand. Tlingbet, you're standing directly across from Violet, and you witness this exchange between Mercury and her, which beggars belief because, as far as you can recall, Violet should be dead.
Yes.
Yes, just as you begin to process this situation, the 4th figure in the circle, a human woman with fair hair, tanned skin, and corded muscles, collapses heavily into you.
Oh, are you all right? Ma'am? Ma'am?
You turn her face to you, and you can see her eyes are closed. Her breathing is a little bit shallow, but regular. Blonde hair, sweaty and sticking to her face. But unmistakably, this is Ariadne Torek.
Oh, Mercury, help. You know things about people when they're not working properly.
He says, yes, that's to be expected. Just a little bit of shock.
Yes, I don't think she's okay.
Oh, that shouldn't be.
My dear, are you all right? Ma'am?
I could perhaps help. I just wondered if it's not too much trouble. I'm not really a big fan of eggplants. But we could talk about that later. Can I help in some way?
He says, oh, don't like eggplants, do you? It's rather inconvenient. I mean, any nightshade will do, but it does have to be one, and that seemed like a good choice. If you're going to replace it, I recommend doing so sooner rather than later.
Well, I mean, I suppose if I don't have to eat it, do I have to eat it?
No, in fact, you never should eat it, ever.
Oh, well, no problem then. So moving on to our friend over here,
yes.
Ariadne, is she okay? Should I take a look?
She is not okay. And Tlingbet just kind of heavily it tries to very gently move her towards Violet and Mercury because he does not know what to do with this at this point.
Should I do a medicine check?
Sure, wisdom medicine.
I may always choose intelligence when making a medicine check.
Fair enough.
In addition, I gain an expertise die when identifying disease and poison, doing small field surgeries, and triage. Would this count?
I would say this does qualify as all of those things.
Okay.
So go ahead, you can use your intelligence, and you do get the 1d4 expertise bonus.
Great. My total roll is 10.
She seems, as far as you can ascertain, to be asleep. You take her pulse, it is regular. You see no signs of poison, which you are well versed in detecting, and no signs of disease. Your best medical opinion would be that she has fainted.
I believe Ariadne has fainted, and that shouldn't be held against her. It's been very strange, few minutes, days, hours, months, I'm not really sure, but I think she's fine and just asleep. Perhaps you could say some loving words and gently slap her across the face or something like that.
That seems a little bit rude. Tlingbet kind of stammers. That seems a bit rude, perhaps, but he gently lowers her to the ground and taps her on the cheek very lightly. Definitely not a smack on the cheek or anything, but just a very light tap. My sweet Riverside flower, my dear, are you okay? Wake up, please.
One hand raises up and sort of bats you away, bats your snout away a little bit.
Ow. Well, okay. Yep, you're awake.
Yes, she's fit as a fiddle. And if my calculations are correct, in answer to your question, Violet, it's been about 1 week. He's moving in a rough circle around the space, which appears to be the after-hours common room of a tavern or inn that is somewhat disused. There are several round, mismatched, chipped wooden tables, which are dusty, scattered about the place. There's sawdust on the floor, and there are lots of chairs upside down on each of the tables. And there is a long oak bar running along one wall with various bottles of dark liquid on shelves behind the bar. Mercury is moving in a rough circle through this space, and he is using his produce flame in the palm of his hand to light various tallow candles, some of which are centerpieces on the table, some are on the bar, and he stops and reaches up to light the 3 out of 6 candles that are in place on a small chandelier dangling from the ceiling. You both hear knocking from somewhere to your left, and you see what appears to be maybe an interior closet door in the space vibrating in its hinges a little bit. Mercury looks up and he says, "Oh, Talingbet, I believe that'll be for you. Answer that, would you?"
The closet?
Yes. Look, I'm sorry to rush. Everything's perfectly fine. It's all gone swimmingly, just as I planned. I hate under the circumstances to have to bustle you all out into the street without ceremony, but you see, it's just that I'm afraid they're going to catch up with us at any moment.
Who?
Yes, best that you don't know, actually, and I'm glad to see that neither of you do recall anything over the past week. You wouldn't want to. It's nothing that you'd want to know. Just rest assured that it all came out in the wash. Talingbet, the closet, if you wouldn't mind, just answer the closet.
Talingbet gives Ariadne's hand one little squeeze before he gets up and leaves her and goes over, very confused, to answer the knocking at the closet door. And he swings the door open and just kind of goes, hello? As he peers inside.
It's not a large space, maybe a 10 by 10 by 10 storage closet. There are some mops. There are some crates and barrels shoved towards the back, but almost the entirety of the space is occupied by a massive black furred elk, which appears to be stuffed into the closet. Its horns are brushing up against the ceiling, and it is wearing tack and harness, and there are reins hanging down in front of you.
Mercury, there's an elk in your closet.
Just like you requested.
What?
There's an elk in the closet.
Oh.
Do I have any memory of this elk?
You certainly do not.
Okay. Well, Talingbet kind of looks up at the elk, who is probably a tiny bit taller than him, but only a tiny bit. And says, well, hello, welcome. Come on in. And he just kind of gestures for the elk to come into the tavern, holding the door open for it.
As you do.
Yes.
Elk calmly blinks at you and clomps forward into the tavern, its hooves resounding on the creaking wooden floor and kicking up little puffs of sawdust as it moves forward. Ah, yes. Well, that's an elk for you. He looks towards it for a moment. You notice what he is looking at, Talingbet. In the front of the harness on the elk's chest is a small brass plaque or ornament or shield. Maybe 6 inches by 3 inches, just sort of an ornamental piece just below the elk's neck in the center of its chest. And it depicts a castle surrounded by a gathering of willow trees.
Interesting. Talingbet kind of squints looking at it and turns to Mercury and says, is that something of significance?
Yes.
That's not Gwyven, is it?
Sorry, the elk?
Yes,
Oh
I
my
mean, he's
goodness.
not here. He's not
Yes.
here, so I was just wondering. That didn't happen to him, did it?
No,
Gwyven?
no. Gwyven? He yells. He's not here, is he?
Well, that's why we're concerned.
No, well, he never was. Sorry, you should only have forgotten the past week. Gwyven, I believe, is retired and living in Last Chance.
Oh, that's a relief.
Yes. Good. Yes. Should you run into him, please give him my regards. He moves over to the door and opens it, and there's a little bit of a cool early fall breeze that wafts in. And you can see there are the lights of a nearby town visible in the distance and stars twinkling overhead. He sticks his head out the door and looks in both directions, and then comes back and looks at you, and then sticks his head out again. And he says, well, we got away.
Got away from what? Last I remembered, we were going into this strange bar because we wanted to, I don't know, you think you said something about finding a place where the laws of life and death were a little more flexible or something?
Yes, and indeed we did. And thanks to exactly that sort of flexibility, He gestures with both hands at Violet. Good as new. Almost.
I just start counting my fingers, looking at my hands. I'm feeling to see if I have only 2 eyes.
Sorry to resurrect and dash, but his hands suddenly start patting his blue coat and sticking his hands into multiple pockets, and something's squeaking. Yours, I believe. He opens his right hand in front of you, and you see Mort in the palm of his hand, along with one of Mort's ears and Mort's tail. All those 3 things are separate.
Mort! I'm so excited. I go over and hold out my hands.
Yeah, he sort of just dumps it all so that all goes in the same place. Kind of just upends his hands into your hand.
Dear. Risaccio.
And I just start putting his pieces back together.
Delightful. I'm afraid that I'm going to have to disappear for a little bit to avoid the attention of certain interested parties due to certain events over the past week, which I'm not at present at liberty to mention. However, Violet, should you need me, you should be able to contact me periodically using your nightshade.
Oh, this eggplant.
Yes, exactly, the eggplant. Just sort of give it a good polish and think of Mercury and don't overuse it, but if you're in desperate need of some advice or entertainment or wisdom or suggestions, you should be able to get hold of me, hopefully. So long as I'm, not... He makes a graphic gesture of his own head being cut off.
Do I speak out loud into the eggplant, or
yes, if you like.
The eggplant.
He seems nervous and distracted. Yes, of course you do. He starts sort of ushering you towards the front door.
Okay, thank you.
He says, "You're perfectly welcome. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Tlingbet, don't forget your elk."
And the lady.
Of course. And of course, your
he's
girlfriend.
Trying to help Ariadne to her feet and figure out what's going on with the elk.
I'll tell you what, 2 birds with 1 stone. He picks up Ariadne and just sort of lays her over the back of the elk on the saddle. With her
I hadn't thought of that.
Legs hanging off one side and arms hanging and head hanging off the other side.
I suppose that works, yes. And Tlingbet tries to lead this elk with his girlfriend at this point, I suppose, out of the bar.
The tallow light of the candles is burning behind him. You see his silhouette framed in the doorway of the Waning Moon Tavern for a moment. He waves and gives a wan, nervous smile and then slams the door. And a moment or 2 later, you hear the sound of wind chimes being rattled. There is a grinding sound and a moaning sound, and the Waning Moon Tavern disappears, leaving you in an open, grassy field somewhere on the outskirts of Hengistbury. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Podcast Party to Slay a Dragon, presented by Cast Party and EN Publishing. The show will be back shortly for the second part. For this series, we're using LevelUp Advanced 5th Edition to enhance the classic D&D 5e experience. For more on these cool new rules and enhancements for your 5th Edition D&D games, visit LevelUp A5E.com. You can also purchase this adventure as part of LevelUp A5E's awesome new release, To Save a Kingdom, available in both hardcover and PDF formats. If you're a new listener and you're enjoying this adventure, you should also check out Podcast Party Descent into Avernus, as Dungeon Master Matt Gordon leads us to hell and hopefully back in a quest to save the stolen city of Elturel from eternal damnation. We have almost 3 years of episodes available now, and new episodes come out right in this feed. I have so much cool shit to tell you about that I don't know where to start. First of all, Cast Party's holiday one-shot deal is back. Right now, you can book a 3 to 4 hour one-shot online adventure for 3 to 7 players with one of our amazing professional dungeon masters for just $60 total. I can't think of a better holiday gift than friendship, fun, killing monsters, finding treasure, and saving the day. If there is somebody in your life who would enjoy an adventure, you can book it now by emailing us at info@cast-party.com before January 1st, 2024. Mention Holiday One Shot in the subject line. You can also buy this gift for yourself. Of course, we won't judge. We also have a new live event coming up for those of you in the New York City metro area this winter. Join Cast Party for an evening of dragon slaying, dungeon delving, treasure hunting adventure at The Good Witch at 134 Southside Avenue in Hastings-on-Hudson, New York on January 6th, 2024. Our professional dungeon masters will lead your party through a tabletop adventure. No previous D&D experience is necessary. Admission includes a 3-hour Dungeons & Dragons experience with a professional DM, possibly yours truly, or Matt Gordon, or Andy Cannistra, a delicious drink and snack, courtesy of The Good Witch, plus a few surprises. The Good Witch is located just a short train ride from New York City in historic Hastings-on-Hudson Station on the Metro North Hudson line. If you're planning to attend with a group, we'll make sure you're seated with your friends and family. If you're a new player or you're attending alone, no problem. We will make sure that you're at a table to suit your experience level. This event is for ages 18 and up. Tickets are on sale now and going fast at cast-party.com/live events. You can also come find us in our booth at the Hastings Flea on Sunday, November 12th in Hastings-on-Hudson, New York. Our DMs will be running free short D&D adventures, selling some hand-painted minis, and more. Info at thehastingsflea.com. Would you like to be resurrected under suspicious circumstances like Violet was in this episode? Cast Party's professional dungeon masters are available to hire for online games. We have games for kids as well as adults, and our DMs can run almost any of the official Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition adventures, as well as third-party adventures and even some that we've created ourselves. Details at cast-party.com. Do you ever feel like you have a great visual picture in your head, but you need a little help putting it into words? Well, with a subscription to Describe, you can access thousands of descriptions of monsters, spells, locations, and more, as well as maps, music, and sound effects to enhance your games only at describe.com. That's DSCRYB.com. I can't tell you how great that service is. I know they're supporting the show, so it sounds like I'm just shilling for them, but I genuinely think that is an amazing site, and the music and the maps and the descriptions are really great. Would you like 10% off that subscription? Follow the link in the show notes and use the discount code CASTPARTY, all one word, all caps, to save 10% on your first subscription. Check us out at cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, on TikTok at cast_party, or on Threads at cast_party. As always, we're offering free monthly adventures with our Dungeon Masters. These free games fill up quickly, so if you would like to grab a spot, you should join our email list or our Discord server. Links to both can be found at cast-party.com. You can watch episodes of Podcast Party on YouTube, complete with artwork, battle maps, character portraits, and even a little bit of animation. Check out the show notes for the link or visit cast-party.com. If you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Message us on social media or email us at cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, on TikTok at cast_party, or on Threads at cast_party. Thanks very much for listening. And now, back to our adventure in Holdenshire. The sky is beginning to turn purple and red, and a few stars are already visible when your wagon rattles into Hengistbury. The summer grasslands are fading, and there is a breeze on the air that whispers of autumn coming. The muddy expanse where the streets meet serve as a town square and a marketplace. There are a few merchant stalls open and operating, and many other shuttered ones that seem to be waiting for festival weeks. A stone well stands on the side of the square. Corn dollies, little humanoid figures made from straw, surround its base. Horse-drawn carriages and carts, cattle and chickens can all be heard in the village center. You can hear the nearby sounds of a forge. The two of you are sitting kind of diagonally across from each other in the back of Albert Wright's wagon. He turns around to face you. Middle-aged human man, mutton chops, thin, black vest, brown peasant shirt, rugged but expensive, like he's been to the best outdoor outfitter shops, kind of a gentleman explorer. Little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, black hair, artfully disheveled, and maybe just turning gray. He has a floppy brown hat that is on his knee at the moment as he holds the reins in both of his hands. He turns back towards you and smiles and says, here we are, Belton, Maliboo, Hengistbury. He looks around as if he's being well received, but no one is really looking much at your wagon at all. People are just closing up their shops or trying to get a little last-minute business in before the town closes for the night.
Oh, my favorite place in the world. Belton, I think, says that with a note of sarcasm that is easily discernible. I look over and see if the hen and filly is still about, where
Yes.
my cousin Mike O'Ferris is the proprietor.
Yes, in fact, Mr. Wright has pulled up his wagon directly in front of the hen and filly, and the hen and filly at the moment seems to be doing a pretty brisk business. You can hear the muted thump of melodic music and rumble of lively conversation flowing out from behind the closed doors and mullioned windows of the hen and filly.
Sitting across from you is an elf with multicolored red and orange hair, and his eyes are open, but he really hasn't moved in several hours, just staring straight ahead.
Belton waves in front of this elf's face. Hey, Maliboo, you all right there? Hello?
Nothing happened.
Give him a little tap.
Albert looks around and he says, I say, Belton, this Maliboo chap, you did say he was up for it, you know, experienced and all that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I hope he hasn't gone to pieces already.
Maliboo, wake up, dude. Wake up. Hello. Come on.
At the laugh, Maliboo comes back out of his trance, and he smiles and goes, Belton, 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 Belton. And he looks around.
Yeah, you don't have to call my name 4 times. I'm right in front of you. Can you see me?
Oh, yes, we're here. And as he says that, his hair changes color from the red and orange it was to more like blue and yellow and pink, very pastel-y spring colors.
Oh, that's a nice hue. I like the blue. It works in your favor. I'm a big fan. I had a friend who was kind of big into fashion. He would appreciate that.
Wright says, oh, he's blue again, is he? Is this one of the happy ones or the sort of moody, dangerous ones?
You know, I don't know. Maliboo, how you feeling? You good?
He nods and reaches down, and stuck into the wood of the bottom of the wagon is a spiked morning star, and he rips it out, and he goes, I'm feeling great. Yeah, let's go. Are we here? Are we going to kill the monster?
Oh, okay. Hey, take a step back. Rewind. Hold on.
Hold on there, Maliboo.
What?
We're not here to kill anything. Watch this, a little innovation of my own. He grabs a lever that is next to him on the trap and jerks it back. There's a mechanical sound, and the back of the wagon pops open, like a hatchback opening up. And he says, hey, automatic.
Can Maliboo roll out and land on his feet?
Sure, dexterity acrobatics.
First roll. Oh, dirty 20.
All right.
Describe how you roll out very nimbly and land on your feet.
So Maliboo shakes out his hair, smiles, rolls out, spins his morning star up onto his shoulder, and lands on his feet, almost in a superhero pose. And then stands and bows for everyone. How was that? How was that? How was that? Belton, how was that?
Amazing.
I never doubted you, Belton. Never doubted you.
See, I told you, I got good people where I'm coming from.
You have an
here,
eye.
you know?
You have an eye for talent.
Yeah, you know, I do my best.
Yes, we're not here to kill any monsters. You know, we're just here to collect them.
Oh,
Gently gets out of the front of the wagon on his side.
Belton stands up, stretches, makes sure all of his accoutrement is properly attached, make sure that nothing has left his person, so to speak. Doesn't hop out of the back, just slowly and carefully climbs down out of the back of the wagon and looks around.
Excellent. I knew I could rely on you. Now, for some dinner, and I shall reveal to you the next part of the mission. He rubs his hands together and starts walking towards the hen and filly.
I look over at Maliboo and say, so remember the plan. You gotta be really, calm, reserved. Let me do the talking. I will talk to Maiko, and then when it comes to the money, just let me do it. It's cool, right? We got this?
yeah, and we're stealing it, right? We're stealing it?
No, Maliboo, no. How many times, man? How many times?
What?
We're not stealing anything. We're gonna do the job that this guy Albert talked about.
Do the job.
And
okay.
when it comes, just stop talking. Stop. You see, I told you, just let me talk. Okay?
I'm ready.
Good?
Go ahead, talk.
Fantastic. Okay.
Anytime. I'm ready.
Shut up, dude. Shut up.
We're being quiet, remember?
Okay.
Albert has opened the front door. The music is now a little louder, and peering over his shoulder, you can see 3 teenage halfling girls on a small raised stage, maybe just 6 inches off the ground, and they are doing a flute and mandolin and drums combo. And Maliboo, you immediately notice that they all slightly resemble Belton.
Your sisters, right?
Belton looks over at those 3. Who are they?
These would be your cousin Myco Ferris's daughters. So I guess they are your second cousins.
Okay. Do I know their? I'm hoping I know their names. I mean, you know, I might have a lot of nieces. I don't know.
Make a culture check. Intelligence culture.
Intelligence culture.
Intelligence culture.
No, that's
Yeah.
fair. Okay, fair. That is an 8.
You're pretty sure 2 of their names start with W's.
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Yeah.
Can I go?
Watch out for
Can I go? I'm hungry.
Wilma.
Let's go.
Wilma's the one on the left. Just Wilma. Call her Wilma. I think.
Wilma.
Yeah, Wilma.
You call out from the door, and there's a gasp, and several heads turn to face you. You see Myco come out from behind the bar, polishing a glass, and he says, "Belton, you made it! You here for the show?"
Yeah. Yes. 100%. Myco. Hey.
Yeah. Listen, Wendy would really appreciate it if you gave her and the girls some notes, after the show.
Wendy? Sure. And that one, Wendy. And that would be
Wendy.
And he points in the general direction of the 3 nieces. Wendy.
Maliboo's waving. Wendy.
Oh, Belt.
Wendy.
Belt. Okay, make a charisma deception check.
You got it. Another 8. I'm rolling like a champ tonight.
The 3 girls look up at you, and the one that you sort of rolled the dice and guessed was Wendy looks slightly sad. And another one, the oldest one, who is the drummer, pounds extra hard on the drums for a few seconds and scowls at you. And then they find their place again.
I think it's the drummer.
And I aim my next exclamation at the drummer. Wendy, amazing. I couldn't be better at the drums than, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen, damage is done. But regardless, it's always a pleasure to see you here. And what a great night for you to stop by. I already got a table for some friends of yours. He gestures, and seated together, Belton, at the furthest table from the musicians, you see Tlingbet, and much to your surprise, the recently deceased Violet, who, as far as you know, was killed in a subterranean cultist lair, and you assisted in transporting her remains out of that place and back to Hengistbury for burial. And there was no mistaking the fact that she was dead. The remains were not in a pleasant state.
I blink twice at Tlingbet and, of course, at Violet, and rub my eyes for a sec just to make sure I'm not hallucinating, and then saunter over, pretending that I expected this, to those 2 at the table with wide open arms and a broad grin on my face.
Maliboo follows him.
Tlingbet stands up and, almost out of relief, just gives Belton the biggest hug, seeming like he's totally out of his element and so glad to see his old friend, who seems to have a much better grip on all of the strange things that happen in life. Just wraps his arms around Belton, gives him a big dragon squeeze with his big dragonborn arms.
Belton allows you to pick him up off the ground if need be.
It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, Yeah.
It's unfortunately for halflings, that's the kind of hug that we mostly get, is the sort of big squeeze and then the lift off.
Yep, a little bit of a squish.
Which is a little embarrassing, but yeah, it's fine. Belton comes back down to the ground and then looks over at Violet. Unbelievable. You look amazing.
Why, thank you, Belton. It's so wonderful to see you. I don't know what I look like last time you saw me, but I hope I look the way you saw me before that, so that means I look normal, because I haven't been able to see myself yet. Do I look how you remember me looking?
And I just turn around so he can see all the way around and just like reassure me that everything's fine.
You look 100% like you did before you met your untimely demise.
Oh, great! And I just give him a big hug as well. And then I say, oh, your hair is so pretty. Who are you?
Maliboo just slides into whatever table they're at, and he's already got a fistful of food or whatever's on the table. He's already eating it or drinking it. Hi, I'm Maliboo. Hi.
Hi, I'm Tlingbet. And Tlingbet awkwardly extends his hand. He's about 17-year-old Dragonborn, so he's in that awkward teenage stage. But he's very large because he is a Dragonborn.
Maliboo stands up, shakes your hand, and he's an elf, but he's also a very young elf. He's very young.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't seem to have any manners. He just sits right back down and starts eating again.
This is good. The man who has come in with Belton and Maliboo is a middle-aged, dark-haired human man in expensive clothes. Says, allow me to introduce myself as well. Albert Wright, zoologist, veterinarian, with a specialty in the exotics. I'm the employer of Belton and Maliboo, and madam, may I congratulate you on the news of your resurrection. I've never met any resurrected persons before. I'm sure it must be very stimulating.
Yes, I'm sure it's just...
I just like scream. And then I just look at his face.
Oh, just kidding. I was just having a little fun. It's very nice to meet you. I think I'm totally normal. Do you have any interesting things? I would love to speak to you. One time I got a stinger off of this huge bee-waspy thing, and I've never been able to talk about it with an expert. So if you have some time later, maybe we could,
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Belton, are these two the heroes, the adventurers that you mentioned? Even over in Thornbury, we've certainly heard of your exploits. Saved the summer fair from kobolds, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what they are known for. They are 100% heroes. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Tlingbet is very formidable.
Yeah. What have we done with Ariadne?
So, Ariadne,
She's getting a massage, a hot stone massage.
Did we safely deliver her home, or is she tagging along?
yeah. So just as you say that, the doors to the hen and filly burst open again, and a tall, weathered, grizzled human man with a handlebar mustache and short salt and pepper beard and a wide-brimmed hat and spurs stalks into the hen and filly. He has a dried grass stalk protruding from one corner of his mouth. He cocks his head to the side and he says, "Evening." Everyone looks up at him. "Evening, Sheriff Torek. Evening." The band nods to him. Michael Ferris bustles over to see if he wants anything, and the sheriff just sort of holds up one hand to dismiss him. And his eyes focus on Tlingbet. He approaches and he says, "So, guess you dropped off my daughter?"
Yeah, yes, sir. As Tlingbet just stammers awkwardly.
Doc says she's gonna be just fine, mercifully, for you. Don't suppose you care to explain where you took her for the past week?
Tlingbet just stammers and then looks over his shoulder to Violet, who seems to have a better answer than he seems to have.
I think that was maybe my fault. Please don't be too hard on Tlingbet.
Your fault how, miss?
Well, you see, I did a rather stupid thing where I ran at a very strong person with just a little stick. And I thought I could hit them and I could beat them, but I couldn't. And in fact, I was reduced to, I think, something quite unrecognizable from what I've heard, although I wasn't there to see it. And Tlingbet and Ariadne kindly accepted the position of helping me to be brought back to life. So they went with us, well, I wasn't there, I guess, on a little trip.
Yes, your goop was.
Goop?
Well, partially.
You were partially goop? Make a charisma persuasion check.
Which one of us?
I'm going to say Violet, and I reluctantly give advantage for Tlingbet, I guess, helping.
Okay. Charisma, persuasion.
Yep.
I rolled a 10 with advantage.
He says, "That's quite a story." He turns to Tlingbet and he says, listen, I ain't gonna kill you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, but you should really be thanking my daughter, because she begged me not to.
Well, she's a very nice young lady. I like her a lot.
Yeah,
She's lovely.
she is a nice young lady. And secondly, on account of, I guess, your heroes. He looks around and says, just watch yourself, son. You know,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wright. I says, Sheriff, I'm sorry to hear that there are some difficulties involving my new friends. I was just about to offer them an employment opportunity. Would it take them out of town? Yes, quite possibly, at least a short trip out of town. I says, so much the better. Tell you what, Tlingbet and Ms. Goop.
Her name is
well,
Violet.
That is not very... but that's fine.
She
You can
has
call
a
me-
name.
Kind of rude, honestly, but whatever.
Might not be the worst idea if you took Mr. Wright here up on his offer. He is a respected veterinarian, and some of his cachet might just rub off on you. You folks have a pleasant evening. He tips his hat and walks towards the door, but then turns around and points his pinky and index finger at his own eyes, and then points his pinky and index finger at Tlingbet.
If a Dragonborn who is, quite tall could look small, Tlingbet looks as small as he possibly can.
That gentleman has a down-home gravitas that is quite arresting.
Belton.
What?
Want me to smash that guy?
No,
I'll
no,
smash him.
No, don't smash him.
Malibu.
Shh, I'll do
Play
it.
it cool.
I
Play it
was.
cool.
I didn't hit him while he was here.
No, but I mean, thank you for asking my permission, but no.
He is the father of the girl who is very pretty and likes me a lot, and I like her a lot.
So what?
So
I don't-
don't hurt him. It will make her sad.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Wright sort of seats himself between Violet and Tlingbet, and he says, now that matter seems to be settled to everyone's satisfaction, I wonder if I could tell you a bit more about the mission. That is, if all parties are interested.
Oh, very much so. One question before we get started. I just want to make sure, there's no kind of contractual obligation yet, but are we gonna come back alive after all is said and done? I mean, how much risk really is there to person and persons alike here?
Yes,
this
I mean, I
particular mission?
only just recently came back from the dead myself,
Of
and I
course,
prefer
of
not
course.
to go right back there.
Well, let me reassure you that I've been a zoologist and veterinarian in this region for almost 15 years now, and I haven't been killed even once.
What are those things?
I'm interested in strange and exotic creatures, my friend. Studying them, getting to know them, learning their habits, and sort of the do's and don'ts of how to live with them and live among them.
Why?
Well, it's a matter of public interest, isn't it? Passing the knowledge down to posterity, ensuring the well-being of the communities at the edge of the wilds like this one.
Have you ever lived with, I don't know, strange and exotic creatures? Ever?
I'm glad you asked, my friend. I once covered myself in feathers and lived among a group of axebeaks for 12 days at a time. I really think they began to accept me by the end.
Wow. Mort, did you hear that?
Do you know anything about elks living in closets?
Belton slowly turns his head towards Tlingbet.
Tlingbet just looks back at Belton and goes, "It's been a strange few days."
This is new, I will admit.
An elk will very seldom tolerate enclosures of any kind. In fact, I've yet to even hear of one being stabled.
There was an elk in the closet.
Maiko shuffles up to the table and he says, the elk is at the post out back, Tlingbet. I had one of the boys bring him out some hay.
Thanks.
No problem.
Tlingbet turns to the fine veterinarian and says, See, there's an elk. It came out of a closet.
I shall have to make a sketch, at least.
Elk is quite delicious.
No, you cannot eat the elk. He has a rather
Why?
fine harness. He's clearly meant to be a mount of some sort. To, I don't know, ride into battle or something. I don't know. I'm not accustomed to elks coming out of closets. Usually they're in the forest.
Well, listen, closets or not, elks have sort of been done, you know? It's well-trodden ground. I'm interested in strange and rare animals, and I believe I have a line on one that might be exactly what I've been looking for. I'm happy to tell you more.
Yeah. Please, yes.
Excellent. Knew I could rely on you. So, the thing is, I don't know exactly what's waiting for us out there in the hills. What I can tell you is that something has recently moved into the area to prey on the local wildlife and stray farm animals. There have been some reports of missing livestock, but here's the interesting part. All that has been found are the occasional scorch marks on the ground near the remains of charred sheep.
You seem pleased by that description.
Yes, you seem delighted.
You know, of course, damn bad luck for the sheep, but what an extraordinary story if true.
Maliboo hides his hands.
It's okay, Maliboo. It's fine. Take it easy.
Would it not just be somebody with a torch, or, why do you think it's an animal and not people?
Well, it does seem to be eating them, preying on them.
There are like huge bite marks out of them or something.
Yes, and an irresistible mystery. What I'm looking for is some assistance in capturing this creature alive.
So you don't have any idea what it is?
No, not at all. That's what makes it such an interesting challenge.
Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and chalk off the is it dangerous and am I going to come back alive as a maybe. Yes?
Well, of course, I don't expect anyone to risk their necks for nothing. And that is why I am offering 2,000 gold pieces for your assistance in capturing this creature alive.
See, you've just changed my attitude completely. I'm so happy that you said that.
Yes. Well, money is no object in the pursuit of knowledge, Belton.
What you said.
I quite agree.
I totally disagree, but whatever. I'm good. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, well, certainly, my friend Maliboo. Belton did vouch for you, but if you're not interested...
No, I want to do it. Money. That's good. Yeah.
Oh, you mean you'd be willing to do it for free? I'm happy to renegotiate.
Oh, no.
No, he was
only
saying
money.
the exact
Only money.
opposite, yeah.
Oh, all right. Excellent. Now, there is just one more thing to take care of before we can begin our search. He pulls out a small leather case and he begins rifling through it as he continues. In order to bring whatever this creature is in alive, I intend to tranquilize it. That should make things much easier for all concerned. The problem is that I've run out of tranquilizer and I need to get more. I'm hoping that, as the first part of your mission, you would be willing to, acquire the right materials so that I can brew an oil of deep slumber and apply it to my darts.
Ah, yes, I am good at finding plant things.
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
He is quite good. He's quite talented at that.
Are the ingredients plants for this oil of nat time?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, that is precisely why we've come here to Hengistbury, because the plants that I'm in need of grow locally.
All right, what do you need?
Well, what I'm looking for exactly, weirwood rose petals. Fey roses, they're sometimes called. I understand they can be a bit tricky to lay one's hands on, but with the weirwood close by...
Fey rose petals?
Fey rose petals from the weirwood.
We made a stop in the weirwood not too long ago.
It seems I've contracted with the right people.
Oh, yes. Hey, Talingbat and Violet.
Yeah.
Yes?
Remember Granny Appleseed?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I do.
It's a good bet. Maybe, just maybe, considering the kind of thing that she made the last time, that she might have some of that stuff, that she may want to give us for a kind deed, or perhaps a very small price.
Well, yes, that seems reasonable.
If you know a resident of the weirwood, so much the better. Of course, ideally, the best possible guide to the rose petals would be, a fae. If any of you have some means of asking a fae for help, I would suggest that would be the most straightforward course of action.
Maliboo's eyebrows go up.
There is that one that helped write some very pretty poetry.
I'm sorry, what?
So the very pretty girl whose father wants me to leave town, she wrote me a very nice letter telling me that she likes the blue of my scales. and she had some help from a fae who helped her pick pretty words to say pretty things about my pretty scales.
This is interesting news to me, and I am intrigued. Continue.
And it seems that the fae has taken an interest in, I guess, in our courtship, and might show up again if I, like, I don't know, read the letter again.
You have this letter on hand?
Of course I do. Yes, it was a very thoughtful, beautiful letter. Of course I kept it.
Wow. Well, that sounds like just the ticket.
Maliboo suddenly slams the table with the flat of his hand really loud, and he smiles at them and he goes,
I'm Faye. No one knows that. The ears, the
Really?
hair. Can't tell. Come on, I'm
I
Faye.
suppose we know now.
Well, that's wonderful. Would you be willing to help us?
Plants are boring. But yeah, sure.
It's our passive.
If Belton says I should, I will. It's up to him.
You should 100% help if you can.
do I know what this rose is?
Make a intelligence nature check, Maliboo.
11?
Haven't heard of it, nor have you heard of the weirwood.
I'm sure I could figure it out. It's like my Faye thing. I can do it. I'm sure I can.
Belton turns to Tilingbet. So about that letter.
Yeah. I mean, I also just, like, I used to find plants and sell them to people to get food and stuff. I can generally find plants.
Yes, Tilingbet is very good, even if Tilingbet's never seen it before. If there is a description, I'm sure that the combination of Tilingbet and our friend Maliboo here means we are assured success.
So, Al, question for you. Is there, a time limit on obtaining said rose petals for said tranquilizer ingredient potion thing?
Well, it should be relatively easy for me to brew it up quickly once I have it. If there is a bit of a time crunch, it is only that, well, I'm afraid this beast, or whatever it is, might eat up all the local sheep and move on. You know, and I don't know how long we have before that might happen, but I'd hate to lose track of it.
I completely understand.
It doesn't seem like it would be able to eat all the sheep in a day. So I would suspect we have at least a few days.
A few days, okay. Well, that's good to know. So we could try different tactics here. We could go into Lingbet's sort of natural sense of where this rose may be, and if that doesn't work out, then we could try Maliboo, buddy.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Slaps him on the shoulder.
I'll do it.
Certainly give that a try. And then if all fails, I say the letter is really our best bet.
Excellent. Well, please allow me to do you the honor of paying for your night's stay here at the Hen and Filly, and then perhaps you'll set out first thing in the morning for the Weirwood, and I shall complete my preparations here in town. We'll rendezvous here at the inn once you've recovered the rose petals, and then set out for the area in which the creature was last spotted.
Sounds like a plan.
Good. Sounds like a good way to not get in a fight with that scary man.
Yes, I agree. Gathering
I could smash him.
To do this.
I could smash him. You wanna
Don't
smash him?
It will make her very sad if you hurt her father. Please do not hurt her father.
Oh, right, sad. Sorry.
I'm sure we'll meet other people you could smash. In my experience, there are plenty of people who ask for a good smashing once in a while.
Okay. Do we get free food?
Yes, you are provided with dinner, which always has to be ordered out at the Hen and Filly, as Maiko stubbornly will not cook.
Right.
And will not admit where the food comes from because he hates the owners of the only local restaurant. So everyone is sort of obliged to bring it in an unmarked brown paper bag and eat it there when he is not looking. Since you are now contracted for the course of the mission, Alfred Wright does pay for your dinner and a night at the Hen and Filly, where Belton always stays for free anyway, since it is in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you would like to do this evening before setting out tomorrow morning?
Slingbot would probably spend at least a little bit of time trying to get to know this elk a little bit, see if the elk will let him ride it, those sorts of things.
You go behind the Hen and Filly. There's a hitching post behind the inn, and there are 3 horses hitched to it, and they've all kind of sidestepped to the far south end of the hitching post, opening up a gap of about 6 feet between themselves and the elk. Its water has been filled in front of it, and there's some hay on the ground, and it's calmly lapping water as you come out the back door of the inn to check on it. Massive head rises, water's dripping from its muzzle, and it calmly looks up at you as you come down the porch steps of the inn.
Slingbet just kind of walks up to it and goes, "Hello, strange closet elk. I hear elks like forests. We're gonna go to the forest tomorrow. You want to come to the forest?"
It blinks.
Slingbet takes that as a yes. Says, Can I ride you? You have a saddle.
It kind of cocks its head to look behind itself as much as it has the ability to do that, and looks back at you and then lowers its head.
Slingbet very cautiously kind of walks around the side of the elk, giving it a reassuring pat on the shoulder as he does so, and tries to see if it will let him climb up into the saddle.
It does tolerate you. You get a foot into the stirrup and swing the other leg, and you are riding an elk. It's a good foot higher than the nearby draft horses, which, nervously move another few inches away from you now mounted on the elk.
Perfect. Well, Slingbet is, like I said, quite large, so this is probably the appropriate size mount for him. And he gives the elk one more reassuring pat on the shoulder before swinging his foot down and saying, "All right, I think we can make this work." And he reaches into his pocket, and he still has a pocket full of candy that he had acquired.
The elk,
yes.
Yeah, the elk's large rubbery lips part around its upper and lower teeth, and it moves its muzzle into your hands where you are cradling the candy and rapidly begins to devour as much of the candy as you are holding out to it.
Slingbet would only give it one because he's not sure he's supposed to be giving candy to an elk.
Okay,
but...
it just sort of slurps up the piece like a chiclet.
Yep.
And the candy disappears into its mouth.
And Slingbet kind of nods and says, "I see we are going to be fantastic friends." And then he heads back into the inn.
Violet, did you want to do something?
She'll go to her room and she'll wait until no one's there. And she'll go through her thing. She'll set Mort down next to her. And she'll take out the eggplant. And she's just going to tap it.
Hello? Hello, is this thing on? Hello? Hello?
Violet, how is everything?
Oh, it worked.
Yes.
I know you said not to overuse this, and I don't plan to, but I figured before I got into a whole big thing, I should probably make sure it works. We're going into the woods to find some sort of mystery creature that is killing cows and such. I don't really understand, but at least it's not culty so far. I wanted to tell you, there's a fae flower we're trying to find, and I thought you might know about it, at least what it looks like, or maybe something special. It's called a fae rose.
She can make a quick roll. Well, I must confess my ignorance, Violet, on the subject of fae roses, but I think Slingbet still has Freya's love letter, so if you're in a pinch...
Yes, Slingbet already thought of that. He's very smart.
Yes.
Well, thank you. It is nice to hear your voice, and thank you for this eggplant, because it's nice to know I can still talk to you, and I only recently found out I was goo.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry to have departed so quickly, Violet. I was very happy to see that you were able to come back. It's just that I'm afraid I've leveraged rather a really big favor with someone, and it's perhaps best that I keep on the move for a bit so that they don't immediately catch up with me. You stay safe as well, Violet. I don't think that they'll have any further interest in you, but, well, one never can tell with bargains of this sort.
Okay, but do let me know if I can help you in any way.
Yes. Yes, I certainly will, Violet. The important thing is just stay safe.
Well, have a good evening or day or whatever it is where you are, and I'll talk to you later, but I won't overdo it.
Have a good night, Violet.
Bye-bye.
I don't know what to do with the eggplant. I just kind of put it down and then I put it in my bag and then I just pet Mort and wait for Slingbet to come back.
Belton and Maliboo, would you like to do anything?
Maliboo would like to go up to Belton's cousins once he's had enough to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Go up to his cousins and say, Belton is a hero. He saved me on the road. He's a great man.
They're kind of packing up their instruments at this point.
And I made these for you. And he has a little fistful of dirt that he grabbed before he came up to them. And he makes a little flower, throw out of each one. And he gives them each a little flower as he casts Druidcraft. That's from him. He's a good guy.
A charisma persuasion with advantage. Or, I guess, if you prefer, you could use, what is your like spell casting ability?
It's charisma.
Okay, yeah, so go ahead. Yeah, so charisma persuasion.
Now, I have this ability that I can use strength when I'm using persuasion. So as he's making the flowers, he's also going to flex his muscles and like try to show off his guns. And he is just, even though he's an elf and he's skinny, he's ripped.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see what effect that has. With advantage, I think, because of the druid craft.
He's 75 pounds of pure muscle.
13.
The girls all look up at you. The younger two seem very impressed and delighted by the flowers. The oldest one, Wendy, the drummer,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
takes her flower and she says, "Yeah, it's a great flower, mister, but our Uncle Belton's still an asshole."
Yeah, but don't tell anyone. Just, he's not such a bad guy, really. You should get to know him. He's a good guy. Give him a chance. One chance. All I have.
Belton is at the bar, by the way, drinking heavily.
The youngest one, the flute player, looks up at you. She's the only one that's maybe like a preteen. And she says, "Mommy says Uncle Belton's a thief and a liar." The other two immediately shush her.
Yes, but remember, he's our thief and our liar.
And he nods as if he said something really smart.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest one says, "Come on, Wenda. Come on, Gorp. That's enough for the evening."
Holy what?
That's
What?
amazing. Yep.
Gorp. That's a lovely name.
Is it okay if I make a Constitution saving throw to see how absolutely drunk
You're
and
handling your liquor.
disorderly I am?
Yeah, Constitution save. Go ahead.
The Constitution saving throw. Yep. That's a 16.
Belton's handling his liquor this evening, I'd say.
Belton continues to drink until he cannot.
Myko says, "Listen, Belton, I got to cut you off, buddy.
What? I'm fine.
Yeah, I think, you got a big day ahead of you tomorrow. Why don't you quit while you're ahead?"
Listen, Myko, buddy.
Don't Myko, buddy me, Belton. I know what that means. I know that face and I know that voice.
I enjoy your company. You are the son of my aunt. And I remember that she is an extremely talented and beautiful woman, although I met her a long time ago, and you are my only living relation. And you have this wonderful establishment, and look over there, you have 3 beautiful daughters. Windy,
Gorp.
Wembla,
Gorp.
and Gorp.
Listen, I do have 3 beautiful daughters, Belton. And I've got this great place and a great wife and a great life here in Hengistbury. You could have that too. He puts his arm around your shoulders. You're not a bad guy, Belton.
I never thought I was.
You just got to slow down, just take it easy.
Myko. And he takes him by the face. Says, "Myko, I don't know you half as well as I should. And I like you less than half as well that you should deserve."
Uh-huh.
Did that make sense?
Yep. Come on, Belton. I'm going to help you to your room. 3rd door on the left.
I got him. I'll take him.
Let's go. Well, we'll do it together. One step at a time, Belton. Here we go.
Alrighty.
All right.
I am not drunk. I am fine. I am perfectly fine.
Oh, you look great.
This is really
You
good
look
stuff.
Great. You rise early the next morning. Belton rises last.
Of course.
Myko's daughters are sent to, in succession, pound on his door, which they take great pleasure in doing loudly and repeatedly. You do gather in front of the hen and filly. Everyone except Maliboo is already familiar with the direction of the weirwood, so there is no difficulty in at least starting off the right way. The weirwood is just north of town. In fact, there are some orchards just at the edge of the weirwood. You pass the last few settled houses before moving northwards. At this point, your intention is just to rely on your own nature and survival skills, it sounds like, to survey. It's going to take a good half a day to move into the wilds of the weirwood. So what I'd like to do at this time is I'll ask each of you to let me know what you would like to attempt to do during this journey. And I would count gather components as searching for these rose petals.
So Tlingbet actually has a thing, because he's a ranger, where he can spend 4 hours per long rest to locate either supply or magical reagents up to 5 gold in value.
Awesome.
Would that be useful here?
Yes. Is there any roll that has to be made there, or that just succeeds?
No, I believe that just as long as he can spend the 4 hours of time.
4 hours. Okay.
Yes.
So I will say these journey activities take place during Talingbet's 4-hour search.
Fantastic.
And I'll just take it as read that you are using your ranger ability to locate those components, which will be an automatic success. Rachel, does Talingbet bring the elk?
Oh, absolutely. Talingbet had, as we had finished things off, decided that he was done with walking and he really wanted to be on a boat. And upon realizing that he is not going to succeed in getting on a boat, he's at least going to settle for not walking. And he's going to take this elk up on letting him ride it. So we will ride off in pursuit of these rose flowers.
So Maliboo, I noticed that you have a passive perception of 15. You noticed the elk, which you did not see the previous night since it was at the hitching post and back. You notice a jangling noise. You've never seen an elk wearing tack and harness before. You can't help but notice this brass plate on its chest, like sort of, it's where the straps cross in front of its chest. And there's a symbol on this plate of a castle ringed by willow trees.
As soon as Maliboo sees that, he walks over and he looks at the elk square in the face. He says, "Where did you get this? What is this? Do you know what this is?"
The elk looks backwards at Talingbet as if making a friend or foe check with Talingbet.
Talingbet just kind of shrugs and says, "I think he's weird too."
"No, look." And he holds up his fist, and on his fist is a ring. And it's a signet ring, which usually nobility wear. And it's the exact same symbol.
Ooh.
Oh, do you know each other?
He looks the elk up and down. Does he know the elk?
Make it.
I don't know what kind of check that is.
Your choice, Andy. It is either going to be an animal handling or an insight check. And I would say either way, it's going to use wisdom.
Okay, I'm going to take animal handling. A 14.
It's the scent of the elk more than anything else, Maliboo, that seems to stir some memory in you. And the way that words don't necessarily, the kind of memory that can be instantaneously brought to you by only a scent or maybe music. But you do sense you have something in common with this beast, like you have been in the same place long ago.
Maliboo will start sniffing the elk on its neck because he actually has an expertise in perception using smell.
Okay. Yeah, there's a faint cinnamon and clove scent to this animal.
Are there any droppings by the elk? His droppings?
It does not seem to have shit recently in the immediate vicinity.
When it goes, let me know.
That's the weirdest thing that I've been asked recently, and I've been asked a lot of really weird things.
But that cinnamon clove smell, Maliboo, it's one you associate with your oldest belongings.
Ooh. Maliboo's going to go into his pack real quick, and he's going to pull out an old article of clothing that looks very fancy. It's expensive clothing, but it's old and it's small. It's like child size or Belton size. And he's going to sniff that and then go back and sniff the elk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
It looks at this thing and seems to stare at it. For both you and Talingbet see this. Seems to stare at it for a moment and then stares past you into the middle distance. And both you and Talingbet feel an unmistakable sense of weary sadness that seems to pass through the elk, changing its posture for a moment. And after a few moments, it seems to shake it off and seems eager to just proceed forward.
You're being weird and you're making the elk sad.
In that moment, you notice Maliboo's hair changes from multicolor to, it's still multicolored, but it's more like the colors of fall, but a little black and a little white in there too. And his attitude seems to change. He smiles a lot when he speaks, no matter what he's talking about. Right? And now he seems a little upset.
What's the matter, Maliboo?
I don't know. It's a feeling. I feel sad, but I don't know why. It'll pass.
Yes, it won't last forever. Maybe Mort could entertain you.
And I just hold Mort up in front of his face and put Mort on the spot to do something cheerful.
One of Mort's eyes kind of rolls out of Doesn't roll out of its socket, but it loses its ability to focus on you and kind of lolls a little bit to the left. And its jaw opens, again, doesn't fall off, but just sort of falls slack against the middle of Violet's palm.
Oh, Mort's a little tired. Sometimes he goes slack-jawed when he's a little tired. I'm sorry, Mort. Just wave goodbye to Maliboo.
Is he dead?
Well, he's not alive.
That's not making me happy.
He's happy, though. He's very happy, aren't you, Mort?
It wiggles its tail a little bit.
Belton.
I'm sorry.
Belton.
I'm sorry.
Whoa,
No, I'm
stop,
so sorry. I'm so
stop.
sorry.
I am. Oh, my head.
I have an eggplant.
You're
I
very,
don't like
very loud,
eggplant.
Maliboo. You're very
I like
loud.
meat.
I'm sorry, Maliboo. Well, it'll pass.
I don't know what to do, so I just sort of like I Homer Simpson backwards with Mort and just try to do so. Like I start fiddling with some grass or something.
Ancient trees fill the weirwood, their leaves filtering the sun's light and masking the mystery that pervades the woods. Maliboo, signs of fae and other children of nature are everywhere and give the area a sense of magic all of its own that seems alien to you but also familiar. Has everyone chosen your journey activities?
Yes.
Belton, I'll ask you first then.
I think Belton would scout ahead. I think so. He'll choose scout as his activity. Now, this is based on the scout activity, a perception check that allows us to seek vantage points to look ahead.
Yep, so this will be a wisdom perception check, Belton.
You got it. That's a 15.
Which is a success.
All right.
The party automatically learns which regions adjoin the current region. Surrounding regions are quite familiar to you, Belton. So that's kind of a wash here. But additionally, you will all gain advantage on perception checks made against any attempts to surprise or ambush you while journeying through this region.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I know this place like the back of my hand.
Yeah, you move a couple 100 feet ahead of the party, making sure that no foes are lurking, no bandits. You know there are sometimes hostile lizard folk. You yourself have encountered kobolds. You keep a watchful eye, and as a result, everyone will have advantage on perception checks made against attempts to surprise or ambush you while in the weirwood.
Great.
Violet, have you chosen?
Yes, I would like to chronicle. I guess I would probably walk around with Belton while Belton is scouting and try not to screw up his stealthy activities and make a map and ask him questions once in a while and just try to map the area.
Starting as soon as you set foot in the weirwood, you make a map of particular trees and landmarks that look familiar to you, try to chart how much distance you've covered, and kind of make the Indiana Jones line through this section of the weirwood.
Yeah.
You know it can be a little tricky, so this might also help you find your way out, should that become an issue. But you can go ahead and make an intelligence history check.
I got a 7.
So that is a failure, but not a critical failure. So what you're aware of is that you are doing your best to, map the journey through the weirwood.
I'm doing great.
Yeah. Maliboo?
I'm not sure which one it is, but Maliboo wants to try to find these roses. Are we in a place where we think they might be?
Sure. I mean, you just know they grow in the weirwood, right? So I'm going to call that the gather components activity.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and make your choice of intelligence arcana or intelligence nature.
A little depressed, so he's not thinking clearly, and he's going to use nature. A 5.
5. You scour the forest looking for roses of any sort. Yellow, red, thorny, low to the ground. You know, your eyes are getting tired. A mist is rising, Maliboo, which is starting to obscure your vision a little bit, but you are unable to find any.
All right. So Talingbet's expert forager is actually because he has the wildling origin.
Okay.
So that is why it automatically succeeds as long as he has 4 hours to try and locate magical reagents from that, because he was raised on the edge of nature.
Awesome. It takes the full fucking 4 hours because luck is not with you. And like at 3 hours and 59 minutes, there is your first sign of possible hope. This mist has been congealing and it's gotten murky and dark for the past couple of hours. But as you come around a tangle of briar, you find one of the wood's hidden treasures. Light streams through a break in the treetops and glistens on the dewed petals of thousands of bright red roses. As the light twinkles from leaf to leaf, you see, spread out before you, a veritable garden of rose vines. The sweet scent of the roses wafting across the grove to fill your lungs. Small finches flit among the branches, and their calls to one another lend a pleasant, restful sound to the atmosphere.
Guys, I think I found it. I think I found them.
Oh, thank goodness.
Are you sure?
Yes.
That's good enough for me. Let's go.
How many do we need?
The man did not tell us. He just told us to get some.
All right, let's get them all.
Slingbet turns to the elk and just looks him straight in the eye as he dismounts. Says, "Don't eat these. They will make you very, very sleepy, I think."
DM rolling behind screen. Tlingbat, almost at the point where you dismount the elk, you notice a silken thread trailing along the forest floor. It threads into the patch of roses. Your eyes follow it, and the thread begins to climb up into what you realize is a great skull of some kind of massive giant that is lying against a tree. It's partially covered with moss. Some of the roses are growing around the base of it. Moss growing over the skull, giant skull. This silk thread is leading up into one eye socket.
When you say a silk thread, are we talking like spider silk or like actual silk or like just ephemeral glistening?
Make a wisdom nature check.
Slingbet has a 19.
Yeah.
Tlingbat, it is unmistakably spider silk, but more spider silk than you've seen. It's not like a strand of spider silk. It is a cord of intertwined spider silk.
Well, all right. So Slingbet kind of like puts out his arms to stop anybody from walking into the roses. He says, all right, so roses good. There's a creepy skull over there, and I'm pretty sure there's either one really big spider or lots of spiders or something. You see that spider thread? And he just kind of awkwardly stammers.
Yes.
Kind of tries to point all of this out.
The hell is that thing?
We should definitely not disturb that.
This cord of silk leads more or less from where Tlingbat is standing into the eye socket of that giant skeleton. And the large patch of roses is maybe 30 feet north of your position and 20 feet east of the skull.
So we don't see a way that we could walk around it without disturbing that?
Oh, no. You could walk further east and loop around, go north and east. The cord runs from where Tlingbat is standing more or less northwest into the eye socket of the skeleton.
Does it look like we have already touched or disturbed the cord?
It does not. It's lying there limply.
Maybe we could go around?
Yes, around is a good idea.
How big is this skull?
The skull itself is just shy of 20 feet from bottom of the jaw to top of the skull, and maybe only slightly narrower than that across.
And how high up is it?
It's lying on the ground against a fallen tree. It's looking towards you, if that makes sense. The eyes are facing you. The skull is lying on its side, but the side of the skull is against the ground.
There is clearly some big thing. If you say a spider, I will agree,
Spider.
that may, in fact, be nesting in that skull.
Yes.
My feeling is that we should either go around or carefully and quietly, which is something I'm pretty good at, go just sort of scooching through and get the rose and come on back.
I could go up and kill it.
No.
I don't mind just walking around. It seems like the easiest thing to do is we could all just walk around a little bit.
Is there only one thread?
That is a very good question.
Yes, although I wouldn't call it a thread. I would call it a silken cord of many threads woven together.
Like a rope?
Like if you're picturing like a big, thick hemp rope that like you could barely close your fingers around, it is not that thick.
Okay.
It is a cord. If you had it in your hand, you could easily touch your thumb to your index finger and hold the cord, but it would fill most of that gap in between.
Got it. Okay.
So, go around, we gotta go quietly, because you never know what these things are, and they lay in wait, and next thing you know, your face gets eaten off. So, you should go pretty quiet, if you ask me.
You hear a voice from inside the skull.
They make a lot of noise. They make a lot of noise, and they disturb us. They disturb Manacab, and we are so hungry, so hungry.
The cord rapidly jerks and begins to snake up into the eye socket like something is pulling on it.
Oh, I don't like that.
I'm gonna back away.
Make a hasty retreat. This is not good.
A figure appears in the skull, and it says,
We are bored, we are tired of waiting, and we are hungry, so hungry, Manacab. And they have brought us lots of things to eat.
it's a hideous, bloated figure that evokes a mutant mingling of human and arachnid.
No.
You see clawed and spindly, multi-jointed limbs hanging from a bulbous, stunted body. The face is a mass of multifaceted eyes and a pair of chittering mandibles. Sticky webs drape its frame. You see spiders crawling across its body, nesting and hunting.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. I don't like I don't like how
That's worse.
fleshy it is.
And it says,
Fetch it for us, Manacab.
It's speaking in common?
it is.
Oh, my God.
Fetch the elk and fetch us their livers and skins. We are hungry.
At freakish speed, launches itself out of the eye socket, and we are in initiative.
No.
God, here we go.
Thanks for listening. This episode featured Andy Cannistra as Maliboo, Carolyn Fox as Violet, Matt Gordon as Belton, Rachel Savicki as Talingbet, and me, Tal Aviezer, as the Dungeon Master. This episode was edited by me and Carolyn Fox. Remember, if you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review.